We thank the Lord for the rain. So namhlanje umhla ka-2 October. You know, the way I'm so excited about the rain, about the progress on my garden, I've decided that I should give you guys an update. You know, I've planted quite a lot of things here, but you know, it's just to experiment, right? And use some for my household, right? At this point in time, it's not so much about trying to sell any crops. It's around learning, right? You know, experimenting different things, keep record. So you'll find when I'm walking you through this garden that there's quite a lot of things that I've planted here. So, you know, farmers will tell you actually that it is not good practice that you have a lot of crops, because then you can't keep up, right? You are not really focused on one, so you can't even specialize, right? Because you know, you can't give each crop the attention that it needs for it to grow the way you want it to grow. If you have a lot, because you have a lot to understand, they're different, they demand different attention requirements in terms of the nutrients that they want, the type of soil that they want. So you know, I'm aware of that, right? So don't judge me on that. I'm using my computer, my Excel, you know, my trackers to actually try and track as much as I can each crop that I've planted here. Okay, so I'm gonna walk you from the beginning to the end, all the crops. Hopefully I'll be able to cover all the crops that I have in my garden. So this is LimaUlinde. Okay, so I'll start right where I am. Okay, so these are my beds, right? Let me see if this, okay, yeah, I think this one will show you quite you know, good. Okay, so I'm gonna start with this garden here, right? So on this garden I have quite a number of crops. I recently, today actually, I planted chili pepper, right? On the space that is covered here, right? So we won't see it because it hasn't come up. We only planted today, direct into the soil, right? So the recommendation that were on the paper was that I should plant it on the containers indoors, but for me that has not really worked, right? It has completely failed, right? So I said, let me just go directly to the soil because that has worked better for me. So here, so you can see something has started coming up, which my red cabbage. Okay, so they still small as well. That's why I'm covering them, because I don't want the birds to actually tamper with them, with their growth. So I have about 6 of them, and I have 6 of chili pepper here, right? So I mean, you will see that I'm also planting here what you call is spring onion, right? Spring onion is really for, you know, to help my cabbage to grow, because they said, you know, the research that I've done is that onion actually helps to repel most of the insects that like to be on cabbage. So that's why I'm actually saying, okay, let me plant the spring onion here, so that you know, it can help my cabbage to grow. Okay, The third crop that I have on this bed is this very beautiful spinach. Let me zoom. Look at it. Look at it. Look how great is this. Look how beautiful is this. So this spinach, actually I've kind of transplanted it here, but initially it was on another bed, but because I was kind of like tidying my beds, I said, okay, let me take this here. It was actually planted long time ago, before the winter. It's one of the crops that really survived the heavy frost of the winter in my area, so I'm very proud of them. I've started eating these. They're so cool. I mean, I think there's so much that I've learned on the spinach as from May that I started planting it. Okay, let's move on quickly. So here I have carrot, right? This carrot, I think I've planted it on the 24th of August. Yeah, so 24th of August I started planting this because the weather was kind of getting better. So you can see it's actually doing great actually. It's doing fine. I just helped it with my goat manure, right, as a compost, right? You know, so all this space then is covered in carrot. Okay, so that covers this southwest as bed. Okay, let's go to another one which is next to it. So here I have how many crops? Let me just count for you. I have quite a lot actually as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I have 4 types of crops here. So obvious one is beetroot, right? So beetroot, you can see it goes in rows of 2 all the way up to here. It's doing okay as well. I think I planted it on the 24th of August as well. It's doing quite good. I'm excited. Look at this, right? And it's only just few weeks in. And then on the same date I also planted what you call here is lettuce. Yes, they called mixed salad lettuce, which I've planted on the same date. You can see it's doing quite good, and I've already eaten some of it, which I've planted in May. I've already harvested, so this one is a new one which I'll be eating quite soon. So on this bed here you'll see, if I go up here, so this is still lettuce and beets, but then you see a different variety here. So this is cherry sweet tomato, cherry sweet, right? So this is you know, your small tomatoes, you know, that you can make for salads. I started, planting these on the containers because obviously, this is a hot weather, warm weather crop, right? But it didn't work out actually, and I at the same time planted this directly into the ground, and it has done so well. You won't believe that the seed that I've planted on the container, it's not even a quarter of this in terms of size. So I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. It's something that I still need to really research, but really the ground for me, direct planting for me has been great, has been giving me some good results, so I'm opting for it. So that was my third crop here, and it goes, I have actually three of them because they don't have to be close. So that's one, and then this is two. You can see there's quite a big distance because I'm expecting it to grow tall and a bit of wide, so I have to give it space. You know, all of these other crops, they're small and they not grow as such. And you will notice that the tomato, I've planted it on the edge, away from the sun, so it won't shade the other crops of the sun. So you need to be very careful when you design your garden, right? So because tomato is gonna grow tall, I made sure that it actually away, it won't actually shade other plants. So you need to study how the sun, you know, how the sun actually, you know, what is the word, you know, lihamba kanjani ilanga, you know, wherever you stay, right? You know, and then start designing your garden as such, you know, your crops differently as such. So this is my second bed, doing quite great. I'm very excited with it. So you can see how they both look, right? They're good. Okay, move on. So here, what I've planted here is tomatoes. So you can see I've made sure, so there's this pole here and there's a pole here. So I've planted tomato here today, so you won't be able to see it, because you know why I've planted it so late, because it's already October, you know, and the weather has been really warm. It's because I started planting it on the containers, but it's not really, you know, getting anywhere. And I said, okay, because that cherry tomato there that I just showed you is working, let me do this on the moneymaker tomato as well. So it is here. I'm gonna plant it together with pumpkin. So you can see I've planted some pumpkin seeds some time back, and then it is coming out nicely now. Okay, so that's another one. One thing that I can just, you know, tell you is that I keep records, so I know each and every crop that is on my garden when it was planted, right? So that I can track in terms of how the progress that they are making and when I should plan to harvest. Okay, so this is my favorite garden, which I think helped me along the summer, the spring, right? So a lot of things that I planted in winter, actually I planted in this bed. Okay, so what you see here mostly is cabbage, which has grown. I'm a bit worried about my cabbage though, I must admit. It is just, you know, getting really wide and big, but it is not forming heads, right? And I'm thinking that there might be something wrong. I'm giving it you know, fertilizer. You know, I think one thing that I haven't done, you know, as good as I should, is actually to treat it, right? And I don't want to treat it with a lot of chemicals, so I use soap and water, you know, but I haven't done that, you know, as often as I should. And I think that might be the reason why my cabbage is not doing so great. And this cabbage also is the one that survived the heavy frost, or you know of winter, right? I don't know if it's heavy or what. Most of these crops are winter crops, I think. Actually, most of them are winter crops. So you can see here I also have the remains of of carrot, which is now thriving. You know, I have you know, I have onions, right, which is thriving. So if you look at this, and it was planted just before winter, and it really suffered, spent a lot of time and not even sprouting. And I was like, okay, what is happening here? But actually, you know, the weather started to warm up and they are coming up quite nicely. You can see here I have beets, which is doing so great as well. It's so big. It's about now, 25 centimeters tall, which is great. I'm excited to see what is going on underneath this, right? As I told you, this is my cabbage, which is getting quite big. Yeah, so this is half of this northeast garden. You can see that I've also installed the irrigation system, so I don't have to every time come with with the hose pipe and spend time irrigating here. So I can just have my timer. I have an automatic timer as well, which comes on after some time and go off after some time. So it's quite great. Like last week, last 2 weeks I've been at home, and then I just set up my timer, and it was just irrigating my crops quite well. I didn't have to worry. When I come back, they were all thriving because they were getting water. I didn't have to be there, right? So I think that's important, because I don't want to not go where I want to go, because now I'm stuck with my garden, because I need to make sure that all the work that I've invested on is not dying because of water or anything. So I think it's important. So half of my garden, then on this one of this raised bed, I've planted 2 varieties of beans on this one. So I don't know, actually I think one is sweet beans. It's just the normal bean that you would get at home, and eat it with ujeke and stuff. It turns brown or so pegile. This is the variety. So you will see that they are not really the same, right? Yeah, you see the other one is like green, deep green, and the other one is light, as if it is actually having some nitrogen deficiency. Then this one is actually upompom. We call it upompom, where I'm from. Is this big white beans. So I've planted it because I had it on my cupboard. So let me just plant it. I think you can see it's coming up quite nicely as well. It is liking the conditions that are here. And then over there you can see I have sweet corn. So I've planted here sweet corn. It is coming up nicely. You can see also the sweet corn is just away. At the end, it won't shade other crops. As I said before, it is important that you're cognizant of that when you plant. So yeah, this is my beans, and it's doing quite well. Okay, done with this raised bed. On the side here, oh, I hope you're counting how many crops I've covered already. So on here I have 2 crops. So I have I'll start with the one that is big. I have my pumpkin. which is liking the condition. This is another one, and this is another one. So we have 3 pumpkins that I've planted here. In between pumpkin, let me start here. I have I have cucumber. This is cucumber. Planted it directly on the ground. This is the first. This is the second one. This is the third, and this is the fourth. You can see the fourth one is still very small because it didn't have the sun, because of what you call, let me show you, because of this wall here, because of the wall here. So the sun was not getting on that one, but now the sun is coming slowly, and it's coming up nicely. So it's a bit delayed because of the sun. Okay, let's go. And then here I have another spinach. So that's big spinach that I said I'm eating, that was on the other bed that I started with. It is the same family as this one. I planted it at the same time. They struggled in winter. I had to move them around, trying to get them to the sun. And you know, at the end of the day, a lot of effort was put into this, you know, but it has worked out, right? Look at this one. Look at this spinach. You know, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it's big and it's still growing. It's about 20 centimeters wide. So if you look at this one, this leaf here is about 20 centimeters wide and over, that's about, and about 35 centimeters tall. That's how big this is. So I'm very excited, and I want to see, and I started actually eating it. It is very, very nice. So this is it. Here's the spinach here. I'm covered. And then the next variety here is, I'm not so proud, you know, with these yellow, you know, dying leaves that you see here, but this is my veroflay baby spinach, right? It has really struggled. I don't know what happened. I think it was some of the, you know, one of those mistakes that would happen if you have a lot of you know, plants that you're looking after. It was really nice, looking good, but last week it started really, you know, these leaves turning dry, and then these leaves were turning yellow, and I started to realize that actually maybe there's a problem here with nitrogen deficiency, and I started putting you know, fertilizer that I have, and you know, I spray some fertilizer as well. So what you see now, it's my spinach coming back to its glory, right? It was really bad, so now it is coming back, and I'm very excited, and it is very nice. I started eating it, you know. Wow. And then here I have they call it taro or elephant ears. Amadumbe lawe ngiwatshalela. So now amadumba angisazi ngiwatshaleni, but I think ngiwatshale ngoJuly, towards the end of July. Now ahlalile isikhathi esiningi engaveli because of the conditions. They actually were waiting for summer, for warm conditions, and now they have warm conditions, and they're coming out quite nicely. I'm very excited about them, and that's it about this bed. Let me go on the other side. Okay, so on this side I have what you call this bed here. So you can see yesterday I started planting potatoes on this space. Potatoes on this space, and then here I haven't planted anything. I wanted to fill the whole of this bed with potatoes, but I didn't get time to go and buy potato seeds. Okay, so I will have to wait. It's okay, we only three, so we can, overlap our planting. So don't plant the same thing, too much of it, because when you come to harvesting, you're going to struggle, right? You're gonna end up wasting a lot of food and stuff. But actually I'm gonna be giving most of this to my friends and family, right? And then this is I'm about to finish now. So this is another bed. This one side bed is on the shade. I don't know if I showed you, but it's on the shade, right? So you can see there's a lot of shade here. They're getting a very small amount of sun, maybe 3 to 4 hours of sun, and then the shade start kick in. So what I do is here I plant those crops that doesn't really require a lot of sun, based on what I've managed to find out. So here I planted spinach as well, the same spinach that I've planted on the other side. And then here, this is the small viroflay spinach, which is also doing so well, right? This one is thriving. I think I'm trying to remember how old is this, from my head, how old is this spinach? I can't remember, but it is quite young, right? And it has grown quite big. I'm excited to see how long is the spinach gonna be. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay, let's move on this one. This is what I was talking about, right? So let me start here. Things that I started planting on containers, like my tomatoes, paper, it's just not coming out. It is, it's not at all, and I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong, because I am irrigating here. I just don't know. So I said, let me just do it directly to the ground, and it's working fine. So here on the prepared side of the bed is garlic. So I planted garlic today. About how many? About 20 cloves of garlic that I've planted here. Hopefully it's gonna come out. It's not the right season for garlic according to what they say, but I did have garlic, so I said, let me just put it down. Let's see what happens. It's part of it. It's part of learning. It's part of experimenting. Let's see what's gonna happen. Okay, so that's garlic for you there. Here I haven't put anything, so I need to fill up some soil. The last crop that I'm gonna be showing you is actually the spring onion. So the spring onion that you've seen on the other side when I was talking about cabbages, red cabbages, I've taken it from here. So this is where I've planted my spring onion. I said, okay, the residual, because I was kind of cleaning it, I said, okay, some of the residual here, rather than throwing them away, let me take them to my cabbage so that they can help in terms of fighting the insects with me on those. Yeah, that's it, guys. You will see, almost all my beds, they have their irrigation system, right? So spend quite a bit of money on it, but I wanted it to to self-irrigate without me being there. So this is my tap. This is my tap, and this is my timer, and these are two, openings, where I can, set up time to say at this time, the first one must run. On this time, the second station should run. Yeah, so that's really what I've planted here. It is looking awesome. It is looking awesome, guys. I mean, like, you cannot imagine how happy am I with the progress, that I have made on this. I'm excited. Thank you.